What's going on, guys? This is a long overdue episode here and conversation on how and when to start a Daniel fast. I've had a few clients and people I've been working with who have been curious about this topic on the Daniel fast, and I told them I'd make them a video, and it's been a couple weeks. So I'm doing my due diligence here, and I thought I would use this time to actually go live and answer this question here inside of the Kingdom Health Facebook group. This will be uploaded on the Kingdom Health podcast as well as the YouTube as well. So wherever you are listening in to this on, go ahead and say hello. If you're watching this replay here on Facebook or on any other platform, just drop a comment down below and say hi. I love seeing who's tuning into these puppies. So first and foremost, if you guys are new to Kingdom Health, I'll give you a little bit of introduction on what we do here. So Kingdom Health, our mission is to be able to help Christians to be able to start and walk through a successful health journey with Jesus, and what that looks like for each person individually as well, because we've all got our own individual bodies that God made in His image with all of these beautiful different attributes, and some of us were born to be vegan. Some of us were born to eat some bacon. Some of us were, made to drink a pot of coffee every day. And some people were made to abstain from coffee every single day. And there's a lot of intricacies inside of that as well. So we are going to walk through scripture. We're going to walk through real life situations, and we're going to walk through a lot of different information to help you guys navigate that journey, and always keeping it focused on where is Jesus calling you in this, and where can we find Him throughout this process. So if that's something that you think will help you out, you're in the right place, guys. And let's go ahead and dive on into this one here. So the very first thing I want to talk about with the Daniel fast is there's two different versions of the Daniel fast. One that you find in Daniel chapter 1 and one that you find in Daniel chapter 10. So if you don't know what a Daniel fast is, a lot of churches will do these. A lot of Christians will do these to cleanse the body and, be able to emulate what Daniel did in chapter 1 specifically, in getting the body stronger, more vibrant, waking up the mind as well too, by getting rid of a lot of processed foods and things that might be slowing you down. So a Daniel fast is typically going to look like going vegan and going more of a raw vegan. So you're not going to be saying, hey, I'm vegan and I'm eating French fries and, popcorn and coconut oil instead of butter for a week straight and calling that a detox, right? We don't want to go that route, because this isn't just about you going vegan and cutting out animal foods, right? When we look at specifically in Daniel chapter 1, we see the intention behind why he went into this style of eating and why he preferred it. In Daniel chapter 1, we see that Daniel and his amigos say, hey, I think that we can be stronger than all of the other servants in the area through eating a cleaner diet, one that is not going to have a bunch of food sacrificed to idols, and one that is not going to have a bunch of alcohol and sweets and all that fun stuff. We're just going to be eating pulse, is what the actual scriptures say. And pulse is defined as seeds, legumes, and different vegetables of that sort. We're not really vegetables, because seeds and legumes could really vary. Legumes are more like beans and peanuts, actually. But the seeds of those typically blended on up and just kind of used for sustenance, like very dense sustenance, if that makes sense. Like seeds are something that, chia seeds, for instance, have a lot of nutrition in them, but they're very, very small, right? So we often infer this to mean, oh, he went vegan, but it's a different thing. He ate pulse, right? That's what he went through, and then later translations changed it into vegetables, and so on and so on. And so I don't think the exact food that he ate is of the most important. I think we want to look at if you're feeling called into a Daniel fast, looking more so at the lessons here. And one of those for Daniel in this season was he felt that the Lord was calling him into a space where food was not going to slow him down, but instead actually speed him up, right? And be something that would amplify him, right? He wanted to empty the body out, right? What's really cool about vegan and vegetables and lots of non-meat, non-dairy products is all the fiber in them really cleans out the body, right? So cleaning out the waste products of the body, just making even more room for the Holy Spirit to abound on a physiological level. So that's really, really cool. And, after those 10 days of doing it, him and his buddies outperformed all of the other servants. And so there's something to that, to where you look at, okay, Lord, where are you calling me to show up to the highest level in my life? It might be work, it might be with family, it might be in your sports, whatever it might be. You might be feeling that pull of, okay, I need to eat a little cleaner, I need to detox, right? And so we see that example with Daniel in chapter 1. Chapter 10, we see that he got a little shook when an angel came on over and gave him a vision. And so he decided to dive into a fast for 21 days. And what this looked like is no meat, no pleasant foods, and I want to say no alcohol. All right. So what's really fascinating there too, that I don't think a lot of people talk about, is it said that he went into a fast where he had no meat, no alcohol, and no pleasant food. So what that does to me is it raises the question of, did Daniel change his dietary protocol from chapter 1 and the space in between to chapter 10? Because when you go into a fast, what it means is to abstain from something. So if he was going into a fast where he's fasting from those foods, it raises the question of, was Daniel always a vegan, or did he just use that diet for a season to help him? Because it didn't say he continued to not eat meat and unpleasant foods, or pleasant foods and wine. It said he actually fasted into that. So Daniel may have reintegrated some of these foods. May have. I'm saying may have, because I don't want to be assumptive here, but just bringing that in. He may have reintegrated some of these foods because they may have served a purpose in his life. And I think that's something really, really important for us as believers to recognize, is that God will use different diets and different seasons to activate a purpose inside of your life. And we as believers should be sensitive to that and look into what is the prophetic unction, what is the prophetic purpose upon our calling into that diet. I think about one for my own instances, whenever I feel called into a Daniel fast, it's typically because I feel like my body is slowing down and I actually need a physical pipe cleaning. I need the vegetables and the juices to go into my innards, right? My intestines, and just, clean everything out. It's like the house needs a deep clean. Where, for instance, when I do something like what I'm planning to do in January, which is a protocol I call the carnivore reset, to where I eliminate, any and all fiber, and I basically just consume meat, eggs, whole raw milk, butter, raw cheese, and I go more on the animal-based side. I do this specifically more so because it's eliminating a lot of like carbohydrates and, even vegetables and some fruits. There's a conversation on that they have, these different plant defense chemicals inside of them that could cause irritation in some people. This is not, advocate. I'm not advocating that everybody do that by any means, but it's just going in the opposite direction of what Daniel did here. But when you go into a Daniel fast, or when I feel called into a Daniel fast, it's because I feel like my mind and my body needs to be pipe cleaned. When I feel like going more towards a carnivore reset like that, I feel like I need to get the building blocks of a new body coming in by upticking my protein a lot, which is the building blocks, those amino acids for new tissues coming in, while keeping everything very, very clean. So I'm setting up a platform for more muscle growth, athletic performance, while also leaning out a lot as well too, and getting rid of some foods that could bloat people, such as fiber. So different meanings for different diets, right? And it doesn't mean that one is the one that you should keep your whole life, but it means that there might be, a purpose for you doing that right now. There's the same thing with like going lower carbohydrate. The Lord might be calling you into a lower stimulus season. So lowering your sugar and instead learning to depend on the slower burning fats and increasing your protein. And there's even seasons where the Lord's saying, hey, he's giving you lessons through your physiology, and your physiology is starting to crave more carbohydrates, and that's a lesson on rest as well too, because carbohydrates in higher levels can be really stress reducing. It's why we go towards sugar whenever we are stressed out, right? There is this calling on carbohydrates to where there is a short, more acute effect to where stress levels go down when you have a little bit of carbohydrates like that. It's like why on a very stressful day, I might have something like dates, because they're very, very high in sugar, but it's healthy. It's got potassium in there. It's got good fiber in there. And I'll snack on those rather than going for like a Snickers bar, because it will bring down the physiological stress in the body without, putting in a bunch of processed food. So I know I just opened up a big can of worms there right now, because everything I just said there probably, brings more questions to people's minds. But it's just to say, when you feel called into a Daniel fast, honor it and look at the intention behind it. The intention is to clean up, pipe clean, get you ready for something coming soon. And there is something very honorable about removing the animal products there and just depending on the fruits of the earth, right? The crops of the earth as well too. And I do think a much better long-term approach is something that is balanced. I think that's what Jesus exampled for us. He, drank the wine, ate the bread, and had fish, right? What is that? Meat, bread, and alcohol. Three things that are highly villainized in the diet culture of today. People are always telling you need to cut out all alcohol. People are telling you that you shouldn't have bread or grains. People are telling you that, meat is bad and you need to go vegan. But Jesus said, I'm just going to go right in between and a model a life of balance in diet, right? So these are some of the lessons we can learn through scripture and through the life of Christ as well too. It's not like he left a manifesto for diet or a how to deadlift protocol book, but these are things that we have to be sensitive and just read between the lines a little bit, and more so observe the tendencies of Christ in his regular situations and see how we could translate that to food. If he said his yoke is easy and his burden is light, what does that mean in diet, right? So taking these same lessons and applying it in there. He did say we're not defiled by what goes in the mouth, but what comes out, right? Peter had the vision later on about, don't call unclean what I have called clean. So there are some things that we can see on diet, but for a lot of it, Jesus didn't leave us how many calories to eat every day, how much grams of protein, and how many servings of fruit to have every day. So everybody's going to be a little bit individual on that, and your goals are going to be a big part of that. But so this is a little bit on like what the Daniel fast is. Now going in on a little bit more on when to have it, I would recommend doing this once to twice a year. I know some people who will do a full juice cleanse, which is a version of a Daniel fast. Again, we're defining the Daniel fast here today as going more raw vegan. And when I say raw, I mean primarily you're going to be eating fruits and vegetables that are raw. It doesn't mean you have to bite into a raw potato and, go with that. You can throw some sweet potato fries in an air fryer with avocado oil and some salt on them, and I would still say that's a part of a Daniel fast, right? You're making it from home, so you're not gonna be putting in some random stuff on it that you don't know what's a part of it. When you go to a restaurant, etc., so you have a little bit more control on there, but primarily like raw, like you're gonna be getting in more fruits, vegetables, salads, legumes as well too. I would cook the legumes. So think of it like a 80-20, right? You might be cooking some potatoes, some legumes, maybe some quinoa. Rice, I wouldn't go into a lot on a Daniel fast just because for the cleansing effect, rice is very bulky. It's great for bulking and gaining size and being something dense. What we kind of want is more of the things that are going to be a little bit lighter and cleansing in the body. So that would be more of the legumes, the quinoa, the broccoli, the dates, the Fruits like apples, green apples specifically, are really great for that. So things like that are going to be a lot more cleansing in the body because of their fiber and other nutritional properties that are going to get that pipe cleaning effect. That's really what we're looking for. You're going to be pooping a lot when you Daniel fast. When you Daniel fast, like, it's normal to poop 3 or 4 times a day. I would recommend, if you're going through a Daniel fast, to use this time also to pull away from caffeine. I made a post the other day on we're not designed to live on caffeine every single day, and I do stand firm on that. It doesn't mean that you can't have caffeine multiple days in a row, or that people shouldn't have caffeine multiple days in a row. Everybody's got different caffeine tolerances, but I'm just raising the point that if you're feeling called to cleanse the body, it would help to get rid of this very common stimulant that a lot of us just consume every single day on a very high basis, right? And give the body time to detox, reattune to what the purpose of caffeine is as well too. So I recommend for most people, if they do it, to detox from that, and take some time off of coffee. But you can keep coffee in if you do Daniel fast. I just recommend that you go for more of the organic stuff. And if you're going to use some creamer, I would do something like coconut milk. Personally, would be the one that I would opt in for there, and honey for sweetener. I'm not a fan of nut milks. They're very, very high on the glycemic index, and almost just like putting, just straight syrup in there. I would actually prefer like raw cane sugar, over some of the nut milks, to put in there. But that's just me. It's not like they're wrong or anything like that. That's just kind of what I've found works really well for my body. So if you are going to have coffee, I would use like raw sugar, honey, maple syrup, or coconut milk unsweetened personally to sweeten it. But teas, coffee with caffeine, I would steer away from them. Go a little bit more towards like some of the herbal teas if you want something to walk with you through this experience. You could also just lower your caffeine content and do green tea and chai tea instead of always consuming coffee or espresso as well. So just looking at how can I let the body detox a little bit more, because that's the main purpose of a Daniel fast, is to detox, right? It's to get the body back at a state of equilibrium and getting out the stuff that might be slowing you down. So once to twice a year is really good. Some people I know will do a full juice cleanse. I have personally never done a juice cleanse. So at the time of making this video, my opinion might be different on that than later on after having tried a juice cleanse. There is one I'm considering trying from a but a health expert that I trust. But I haven't yet. So you might feel called to do a juice cleanse. I would say that's similar to a Daniel fast in the sense that you're, just going vegan and cleaning out. The timeline I would recommend for most people in doing this would be about 7, 10, or 14 days. Are 3 really good goals to choose from. I think 10 to 14 is a little bit better actually than 7 days, because you want a little bit longer than just a week. Anybody can do this for a week and feel some effects, but a little bit longer, you start to feel a lot better in that process as well too. And I would recommend throughout a Daniel fast to do like sprinkle in a full water fast into a Daniel fast. So if you're doing one for like 10 days, try a full day water fast inside of there at some point. If you're doing one for 2 weeks, maybe try, 2 days of water fasting in there. I like full day fasts rather than a couple longer ones, but you can do longer ones as well too. So you might like do it for 8 days and do the last 2 for a full water fast to really, kind of get that final level of regeneration, right? So that's something that you can do. This is a great process for weight loss as well too. A lot of people will drop 5 to 10 pounds. The big thing is coming back into healthy eating afterwards will help to keep that weight off, rather than just, having, doing some mistakes like I've made in the past after a fast, which is going and having Chinese takeout, right after and just stuffing your face and feeling terrible afterwards. So your body's going to be very, very sensitive when you do come back into, eating. So you don't want to go right into the animal products again. I would recommend, if you do a water fast in the middle of this, to break the water fast with the plant-based material, and then slowly ease back into eating more meat and poultry and eggs and dairy at whatever level, you can tolerate. You might go into this and then feel different eating those foods afterwards. So follow Holy Spirit, throughout this whole time. Be constantly asking, Holy Spirit, what foods are going to nourish me in this moment? What's going to be something powerful for me right now that will help feed me and not slow me down, right? Or if this is this time of rest, what foods will help me to slow down and further embody a state of rest, right? Because I'm not, consuming caffeine and lots of processed sugars and try to speed things up the same. So, you might have a different purpose at different times of day as well too, going into the evening versus going into the, eating at lunch or morning. You might want to have something that'll fuel you and speed you up. And then or not speed you up, but partner up with the cortisol spikes happening, the hormonal stuff that goes on earlier in the day to give you more energy naturally. And then in the evening to partner up a little bit more with the slowing down, the chemical reactions that allow you to enter into rest to get ready for sleep. So just some things to think about. So that might look like earlier in the day, fruits, lighter vegetables are going to feel a little bit better there. So that might mean like a salad. And then in the afternoon, you might have something that takes a good amount of time to digest, but isn't too heavy. So you might want to do like some legumes or something like that. So like beans, and like avocado could be good for lunch, something that's going to be slow burning. And then in the evening, that might be when you have like your potatoes, your quinoa, something that's going to really kind of weigh you down a little bit more in a good way, right? It's going to weigh you down into sleep. And so this is what I would look at for your Daniel fast. A lot of people will probably feel pretty good doing an intermittent fasting routine on this a couple days a week as well too. So skipping breakfast a few times a week, or maybe in the morning just doing like some juice could be a good idea as well too. Just having a little bit of juice to get you through. But make sure as you're doing this to drink a lot of water and salt your food as well too. So a big thing with Daniel fast is a lot of people, their sodium levels drop dramatically because of the fact that you're not eating any meat or processed foods. A lot of the raw foods are not seasoned the way that we normally do, and they're not going to have a lot of preservatives in them, which is your sodium. So sodium is a very, very important nutrient, very, very important electrolyte. So make sure as you're eating this food to salt it very, very well, right? So in the morning time, you might even add a little bit of salt to your orange juice. It's an interesting combination that I actually enjoy orange juice, Greek yogurt, and lots of salt blended up. It's like a nice electrolyte kind of milkshake in the morning, like a creamsicle. I've been having that a lot lately with honey in there as well too. But you'll want to salt, your avocados, salt your beans, salt your quinoa, salt your potatoes, salt your salads. Like just sprinkle salt on everything except for fruit, basically. And some people even like salt on watermelon. So, that's a conversation in itself. But make sure you're getting hydrated by getting your sodium in as well, too, because you need that to feel good. A lot of people will feel like garbage during a Daniel fast because their salt is not good. You can even just get some salt and sprinkle it on your mouth. If you're listening to this and, you didn't see me do that, just example what that would look like. Let's see. What else are some good points here? If you guys have any questions on Daniel fast too, just go ahead and drop those down in the comments. I will do my best to reply to those and give you guys some answers here. But I think that covers a lot of it. An example day of what some eating would look like is if you're doing an intermittent fasting routine, you wouldn't eat till noon, and lunch could be black beans and avocado with like something sweet like a banana or some dates for some fruit. And then dinner, you might snack on some fruit throughout the day a little bit, and then dinner could be like sweet potatoes, quinoa, chopped vegetables, all mixed up in a nice bowl with a good like glaze on there, some cauliflower, some olives, almost like a Mediterranean bowl. Would be a really good idea for the evening time like that. If you're, gonna have breakfast, I would recommend to do something light like a smoothie. And so a really good option there would be like coconut water, or coconut milk. with bananas. You could do a vegan protein powder if you want to. You don't really need to do any supplements like that with this, but you could do that, and just get something that's gonna like really add some extra like micronutrients in there for you. So like you could add some cacao in there. You could salt it, add some salt to the shake. You could throw in some dates in there with the bananas, maybe add a little bit of almond butter or peanut butter. I would say almond butter would be a little bit better, but just for some healthy fats in there and for taste. And you would have a pretty solid smoothie right there with those, with that combination. So just have some fun. You could do like a berry smoothie in the morning as well too. Just something easy, something light, something fun, that's not going to weigh you down too much. And if you go through this for a week or two, you're going to feel really, really good physically. Your body's going to lighten up. Your mind will lighten up. Your prayer time will feel just different. That's the best way I can describe it. You're not going to be holier or a better Christian because you're doing this. The only thing that, makes you the best version of you is your friendship and relationship with Christ and how you embody him on this earth, right? Like 1 John 4:17, as he is on this earth, so are you, right? So with this, this is just something fun that you get to do inside your body and see if you feel better throughout the process. I guarantee you'll have some lessons. I think everybody should Daniel fast at least once and learn something, and have some fun with it. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Just this full-on Daniel fast kind of walkthrough video here. And if you guys have any other questions, again, just drop those down in the comments. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music or any podcast platform, please subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars if you enjoyed it. Really helps to spread the word. If you're on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you are here on the Facebook group, drop a heart, say hello in the comments and the replays, and let me know what you got from this video as well too. And just thankful for my Kingdom Health fam. And I can't wait to do this again. Going to be going live in here every week, going forward with topics like this. So if you have something you want talked about, just share it with me, and we'll get to the next one. Thanks, guys. It's been a blast. Love you.